A landslide in northeast Tennessee turns deadly. We will have more on what happened. More flooding is affecting parts of the region, including a popular park in Floyd County. And state lawmakers are still trying to figure out what to do about the state's troubled pension system.
Dedicated to eastern and southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News this morning.
Good morning. It is 5:31 on Friday, February the 22nd. I'm Will Puckett. Thank you for joining Mountain News this morning. Well, Brandon told me earlier that it started raining last night. And Brandon, before we get into the forecast, you had to come in a little bit early and fill in for Andrew, who was feeling sick. We wish him to get better.
Absolutely.
He's handling a bunch of stuff in his life right now. So Andrew, take your time, get better. But Brandon, started raining last night, not actively raining in some of the area right now, but at some point today, almost everybody, if not everyone, will see some rain.
You hit the nail on the head, my friend, and we're going to continue to see all this rain throughout the weekend, at least the first half of it. Let's take a look at the satellite radar, give you kind of an idea of when all this started. We start back at 11 o'clock, and you see it was ongoing at that point, so we're going to continue to see this in scattered form for most of the day. The areas that will see it early will be those ones south of the Howard Rogers Parkway Highway 80 corridor. Looking at visibility problems over into Pike County, into Logan County, West Virginia, Harlan down to 3 miles. So just again, be careful if you're traveling this morning, especially close to the Kentucky, West Virginia, and Tennessee borders there, Virginia border as well. Temperatures down south a little warmer, 45 right there, Jacksboro, Williamsburg, and then 40s up toward the Big Sandy there, 40 in Prestonsburg and Pikeville, a little cooler than it was this time yesterday. It's about the same temperature right there in Williamsburg and in Monticello this morning. So look, normal day on the coffee meter, not a whole lot of extra needed as we head toward the weekend. The headlines, though, heavy rain will begin later today and tonight. Watches are in effect or will become in effect later tonight. That flash flood watch goes into effect tonight for most of eastern and southern Kentucky, and we're watching the possibility for storms tomorrow. Have the rest of the forecast coming up here in just a few minutes. Will?
Alrighty, Brandon, thank you. Well, a landslide that caused a busy highway to collapse in Tennessee is being blamed for one man's death. Police identified the man as 62-year-old Stephen Lawson. Check out this video. State troopers say Lawson was driving south on State Highway 70 in Hawkins County when his Chevy pickup truck left the roadway, caught up in a landslide. The truck rolled down a 200-foot embankment before coming to rest on its roof. Well, the water is still rising along the Kentucky River in Estill County. The river is now more than 24 feet, nearly at moderate flood stage. The water is up about 8 feet in 2 days. As meteorologist Chris Johnson reports, the river is expected to go even higher this weekend.
The rain has stopped, but the water keeps rising.
Afraid that we'll have to evacuate. We don't know what's going to happen.
Terry Dawes has lived along the Kentucky River in Urban for more than 30 years.
Last year, it got as high as my daddy's garage over here.
She's concerned about more rain in the forecast this weekend.
We get more rain, it's going to get bad. It's really going to get worse, I'm afraid. It's really going to be scary.
Upstream in Ravenna, you can see how close the water is next to these homes. But for the folks who live along the Kentucky River, they're not concerned about the rising water levels.
I don't see any problems with having to move the campers down here or anything getting in any houses. It usually takes about 30 feet before it gets into the houses.
Bobby Gentry is the unofficial expert around Birchwood Lane.
It's up pretty good, yeah. It's up pretty good.
He's lived along these riverbanks for more than 50 years, and he has a good handle on what the river may do.
By looking at the debris, you can tell when the river is still coming up because the debris is running in the center of the river. Usually when it's crests and it stops raising, the debris will come to the side. So that's an indication that the river has crested.
Right now, Gentry and his wife are making sure their camper is in good shape.
Got a swimming hole up here right now, don't we?
Everything's fine now, but by Sunday, this place really could be a swimming hole. In Estill County, I'm Chris Johnson, WYMT Mountain News.
Now, the river near Ravenna is projected to crest around 30 feet by Sunday. Now, heavy rain is to blame for small slides across Floyd County and some major flooding in Archer Park. Small mudslides were found in David, Mud Creek, and Wheelwright Wednesday night. Workers made an emergency run to Tackett Fork in Legion, where water flooded an old coal mine. This past December, water spilled over at Archer Park. Fast forward to 2 months later, the Lavisa Fork of the Big Sandy River's crest has risen yet again to nearly 25 feet.
Mostly what's underwater now is over around the memorial area. The shelters are underwater. There's a playground that's underwater over there. And then when you go on over, the basketball court's underwater.
Now that's Lavisa and 29 feet. It's a Friday. Now for the latest on floodwaters and mudslides in Floyd County, just head on over to our website at WYMT.com. Now Kentucky 1428 is still shut down indefinitely in Floyd County until officials feel it is safe to begin work on the hillside. They hope whenever the hillside dries out, which seems like never, it dries out enough, they can start to stabilize the spot well enough to keep the slide from happening. But for now, they think it is best just to close it for good. Now, water levels rose at Carr Creek State Park as the heavy rain moved through Knott County Wednesday. The lake had levels lower during the winter. But check this out. The rain brought the water levels back up to normal. There was not any major flooding at the park, just some murky water. Now, there's a new issue beyond flooding in Manchester. Officials there say erosion, likely from all of this rain, caused a water line break. On Thursday, they asked people to conserve water, but for now, it does not appear to be as bad as first anticipated. Much of the city water system is under a boil water advisory, however. Well, crews in Pulaski County are working to fix a second sinkhole that has opened up this week. This one gave way in the backyard of a home near Winding Ridge Road. Earlier this week, a garbage truck fell several feet into a sinkhole on Vine Street. Officials tell us they have expected to see some of these sinkholes because of all the rain we have been seeing.
With this amount of water, you know, you're going to get water running underground, traveling any route it can take, and it just erodes the ground out underneath. And eventually it's going to fall in, whether it's under the highways or residential yards or whatever.
Officials are reminding folks to be aware of their surroundings. They recommend also having an escape route planned and a first aid kit handy. Now, several schools are closed because of the flooding threat and sickness. You can find a list of all those schools on WYMT.com and at the bottom of your screen. And just a reminder, you can always find the latest weather conditions on the WYMT weather app, see live radar, and zoom into your neighborhood. You can also learn about warnings and advisories in your area. You can find it all at the Apple and Google Play stores. Now, in other news this morning, the pension battle still looms at the state capitol. House Bill 504 was filed on Wednesday. It only deals with the teachers' retirement system and only impacts new hires if passed. A former educator filed the bill. He believes it will receive bipartisan support. Part of the bill encourages teachers to work until age 55 to retire with full benefits. It also aims to create a two-tier benefit system. Yesterday, the bill was assigned to a committee. And Kentucky lawmakers have taken another step towards improving school safety. The issue has been one of the top priorities for this legislative session. Yesterday, lawmakers focused on part of their overall safety plan. Hillary Thornton explains what they are doing.
School safety is a priority for the legislature this session. Senate Bill 1, an all-encompassing safety bill just needing passage in the House to make it to the governor's desk. Today, a Senate committee hearing another component of school safety in Senator Danny Carroll's Senate Bill 162. The bill does a couple of things, including creating a Kentucky State Police School Resource Officer program.
Sets up a contractual system whereby an individual trooper can contract through an MOU with the school district.
Senator Carroll is a retired police officer and represents Marshall County, which is all too familiar with violence in schools.
The idea is to broaden the pool of officers available as more and more school districts look to hire school resource officers.
And Senator Carroll says his bill would also allow those who have retired to go back and work in these positions in the schools.
Pulls them in and allows them to keep their state retirement health insurance.
The bill also allows those school systems to not make contributions to the pension system, something some senators did voice concerns about considering the shape of the pension system.
Senator Higgin, I agree with you, and it's a concern with everyone, but the safety of our kids has to take priority above all.
In Frankfort, Hillary Thornton, WYMT Mountain News.
Now, the school safety bill could be heard on the House floor today. Now, summer vacations may not be as hard to plan out starting next school year for parents with students in West Virginia. A bill was approved by the House of Education Committee yesterday that would make the school calendar begin no later than September 1st and end no later than May 31st. Delegate John Kelly is sponsoring to change the regular 180 instructional school days to minutes, which would then be converted into 170 school days.
They can attend summer school and catch up and get brought up to date on the studies that they need to do, thus keeping from having to hold these students over for another year.
Now, that bill, if passed, will start next school year for the 2021 school year. The bill is now heading to the House floor for first reading. Well, coming up in the Plugged In Movie Review, the crew is taking on the newest release in How to Train Your Dragon series.
Heavy rain, flooding, and some strong storms. We could see all of those in the next 48 hours. I'll have the full forecast in about 3 minutes.